Hello and welcome to the Through the Eyes of George YouTube channel. Today what we are going to be talking about is how to have a conversation in today's culture and what would George Washington think about those things and attributes of conversation. Now what we're going to do in this video, because if you have studied George Washington or learned about him, when he was a young man, he wrote down the 110 maxims to the rules of civility. And if you know anything about George Washington, he was a God-fearing man. He was an Anglican Christian. So we'll read a couple verses about conversation and speech and how to communicate with one another. And at the end, it's for you to decide about conversation and speech and those things. And what would George Washington think? All of the sources in my in this video, I'll put in the description below, all the George Washington biographies and all the websites and all of that. And give it a thumbs up if you like this video. Click subscribe if you want to hear more or see more videos, or click the notification bell. So let's jump right to it. And one thing that I think about a lot in today's culture, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, is when something happens with the president, whether it's Donald Trump, Barack Obama, George Bush, any president, Bill Clinton, anybody. We have different types of technology through different types of presidential administrations. Now, whether some presidents or not should be so boastful, whether that's Donald Trump, Barack Obama, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, anybody else, sometimes people should think twice about talking so much on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I do give it to Barack Obama in being very tactful in how he speaks. Now that he is not the president, I think that's very awesome, very polite, and very wise of him, in my personal opinion. But with regards to talking on Twitter and Facebook, what would George Washington say about speaking? What would he say about Donald Trump about speaking? But I'm going to read from George Washington's Rules of Civility, a few of these excerpts and maxims, and this is for you to decide on what George Washington would think. So let's get to it. Maxim number 66. I'm going to try to make this video a little bit more interesting and entertaining. This is the George Washington's Rules of Civility. I go back to this book a lot in a lot of my videos. Because it's how people envision George Washington to be kind, to be chivalrous, to be courteous. And he was a very astute man, and that's with lots of wisdom and those kinds of chivalry type things. So that's why I always go back to this book. So, maxim number 66. It says, be not forward or irritable, is in quotations, but friendly and courteous. Be friendly and courteous. Be the first to salute, to hear, to answer. Be not pensive. Be not pensive when it's time to converse. In other words, be not glum or unfriendly in your approach to people, but be prompt in rendering kind offices, and always be the first to salute. Listen carefully to what is said and respond. Be not aloof when duty requires you to take part in the conversation. Be engaged in the conversation. A lot of times today people are always on their phones, glued to their phones. I know that there's a few people that I personally know when I talk to them. They're always on Facebook or Twitter or texting or taking pictures or doing something. I don't feel personally like I'm really engaged in this person's life. even though sometimes they may say that I'm their friend. I don't really feel like it because they're not looking at me. There's that human connection there. Number 79. Number 79. Maxim number 79 here. Ooh, there's a lot in here. Be not apt to relate news if you know not the truth thereof. In discoursing of things that you have heard, name not the author. Always a secret discover not, that is, do not reveal. Number 79 is very important for reporters, for news anchors, for anybody in news, whether it's Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, The Washington Times, The Washington Post, whoever it may be. When you hear something, wait, pull back until you get the whole matter. We'll let the investigators do the investigating. We have the Robert Mueller report that came out. He, in all of my research, is a very respectable man. And sometimes people wanted to jump to conclusions before the report came out. I don't think that's really appropriate. Despite what is true or not true, I'm not going to give my opinion on that topic of what Robert Mueller was investigating. But jumping to conclusions before the whole conclusion of the matter is investigated really isn't appropriate or kind. Chivalrous or the chivalrous thing to do would be to wait until the whole conclusion of the matter. Number 81. Again, this is going to be a kind of a long video because I want to make sure it's fully understood how to communicate and have conversation through the eyes of George Washington. Number 81. Be not curious to know the affairs of others, neither approach near to those that speak in private. We don't have to know everything about everybody. You, the viewer, and anybody else that may hear this video, doesn't have to reveal everything about themselves or online on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Or you, the viewer, or anybody listening, doesn't have to say, oh, I wonder who or what is happening with this person. That's not appropriate. If you, the viewer of this video, or anybody else is typing online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, about whatever is going on in life, what are you busy doing? You're busy gossiping. You're not busy doing what you're supposed to be doing if you're a reporter, if you're a journalist, if you're a news anchor. That's not appropriate. You're busy not doing anything really that's bringing a good fruit or positive energy or positive vibes, as the people like to say. It's a common phrase, positive, good vibes. Gossiping doesn't do that. Number 22, I really like number 22. Rules of Civility, number 22, here it is. Show not yourself glad at the misfortune of another, though he were your enemy. I love this because just because something bad happens to somebody that you dislike or that's your enemy, or somebody you had a misgoing with, or somebody that you are at odds with, you don't have to post on Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat or anything like that how much, oh, I'm so glad that this person has had a misfortune or is in pain. That's disrespectful. Would you want someone to say that about you? If a president, if Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, or George Bush had a misfortune about them, something that happened to them that was bad, do you think those people would want people to gossip about that thing that happened to them? I say absolutely not. That's very inappropriate to gossip about the misfortune of others. Because would you want people to do that to you? How would you feel? And I'm just going off of this book, George Washington's Rules of Civility. And if it pains you to hear these things, just because something hurts your feelings doesn't mean that it's hate speech. It just means that you disagree with it. I mean, we're all adults, right? I mean, right? I don't know. But moving on. Number 58, we have about 2 or 3 more. Number 58 here. And I know sometimes watching these videos, it's just me and the camera. And I just want it to be an educational video on what George Washington would do or say. Not my opinion. And if it is my opinion, I'll state so. But number 58. Woo, almost there. There we go. I love this. Number 58. Let your conversation be without malice or envy, for 'tis a sign of tactable and commendable nature to have your conversation be without malice or envy. And in all causes of passion, admit reason to govern. When you're speaking and talking to people, it's best, and you look better with the integrity of your name, to not have any malice or envy in the things that you're saying. You look good when you're not gossiping about other people. Number 69. I like this. This is great. This is awesome. This is specifically to people on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook who always like to gossip about other things, about other people. If two contend together, take not the part of either unconstrained, and be not obstinate in your opinion. In things which are indifferent, be a part of the major side. A translation of that in today's jargon or today's vernacular, you could say, if two persons have anything to decide between themselves, like if I have a disagreement with you, and other people are looking in, those people that are looking in the disagreement between you and me, they should not take part of either unless some greater reason obliges those people to do so. Do not maintain your ideas too obstinately in matters in which opinions are freely given. Take the side which has the most support. So with this rule of civility by George Washington, if two people have a problem with one another, like I said, as the example, if you and me had a problem with one another, we should go to each other with that problem or situation. And if that problem or situation needs more to be remedied, or we can't solve it, we should bring in an unbiased mediator to solve our problem. We shouldn't have other people on the outside giving their opinion if we first can't solve it together as adults, as mature individuals. And the last rule of civility I'm going to read from about conversation is number 73. I think this is very important. Number 73. Oh man, my hair is itching my face here. Number 73. I think this is above all the most important. Think before you speak. Pronounce not imperfectly, nor bring your words out too hastily, but orderly and distinctly. Now, when you're speaking to somebody, I always think about the biblical phrase, and I say biblical because George Washington was an Anglican Christian. The biblical phrase in James 1:19 about being quick to listen, slow to speak. Quick to listen and slow to speak. If people listening to this are like, oh, I don't want to have anything to do with that because that's Christian or biblical. Just because it's Christian or biblical doesn't mean that that's not a good phrase. Don't you think that's a great phrase when talking to somebody? Being quick to listen and slow to speak? I think so, in terms of having conversations. Now, like I said before, George Washington was an Anglican Christian, and so I'm going to read 2 verses about speech and talking and gossip and things about relating to what I said and George Washington's viewpoint in Christianity of talking about things when you shouldn't, that you shouldn't gossip. Proverbs 11:13 in the King James Bible, it says 11:13, a talebearer revealeth secrets, or somebody that gossips. But he that is of a faithful spirit concealeth the matter. Someone that is to be trusted, that is a confidant. And I'm going to read a couple quotes of George Washington to close this video about confiding in one another and not gossiping. The next verse is Proverbs 20:19. Proverbs 20, verse 19 in the King James. It says, he that goeth out as a talebearer revealeth secrets. Therefore meddle not with him that flattereth his lips. Those people who are gossipers, who always talk about this and that, and text and Snapchat or what have you, or send out a tweet about, oh, I'm really glad this happened to that person, or hey, I wonder what's going to happen with this situation or that. Well, we should wait for the whole conclusion of the matter. That's what George Washington would say. And those historians who disagree with me on this video, I challenge you to really think about what George Washington would do in the integrity that is in his name, in the honorableness in his name. He would ask people to not gossip. And whether we are Christian or non-Christian, atheist or Buddhist or Hindu or Taoism or Taoism, we can all agree, certainly, that people should be quick to listen and slow to speak in conversation and hear the whole conclusion of the matter. Now, to close this video, I'm going to read a couple quotes from George Washington about conversation. The first one is, be courteous to all, but intimate with few. Let those few people that you are intimate with in conversation be well tried before you give them your confidence. Don't just go gossiping about everything about you to everybody. True friendship is a plant of slow growth and must undergo and withstand the shocks of adversity before it is entitled to appellation. And the last quote is in that letter from George Washington to Joseph Reed on December 15th, 1775. And this is so key into people who gossip and just talk about whatever and flatter their lips on Twitter, social media, Facebook, Instagram. George Washington wrote to Joseph Reed, there is no restraining men's tongues or pens when charged with a little vanity. I think that's very true in today's culture, as well as it was back in George Washington's time. So thank you for watching this video. I know it was a very, very long video, but I'm going to put all the information in the description below. If you have any comments or questions, send me a little message. But thank you for watching this video. Much love to you if you watch the whole video, and looking forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.